Hey YouTube, it's ICU and welcome to the 7th episode of Best Tech Info and Rumors. If you're unfamiliar with this series, it's just me talking about what is important that has happened in the tech world. And as always, you can get more information on everything that I talk about in this video on my website, and I will have a link to every single thing down below in the more info. So first of all, it looks like Geohot might be back to the jailbreaking scene. Yesterday, which was Sunday, May 1st, POSIX Ninja actually tweeted and he said, "I challenged Geohot to dump the iPad 2 jailbreak boot ROM before me. Maybe having a worthy opponent will motivate me to work harder." And then just a couple minutes later, he tweeted and he said he accepted. He said he didn't have an iPad 2 yet, but he's getting one really soon. So typically POSIX Ninja doesn't mess around about stuff like this. As most of you know, he is one of the key members of the Chronic dev team who released Green Poison, which was an untethered jailbreak for 4.2.1, and it is probably the easiest jailbreak in my opinion, aside from something like Jailbreak Me. But anyway, he is a really reliable source, and I really do think that it is true. And considering that Geohot doesn't really have any contact with the internet after the whole thing with Sony happened, POSIX Ninja basically had to speak on his behalf. So now I'm going to move on to iOS 5. Now iOS 5 is expected to have some pretty amazing features after all of the cool features that were added in iOS 4. And apparently it seems that Apple has already begun widespread testing. So as you can see, the list shows what devices it's being tested on, and it's also being tested on the iPhone 3GS as well. Now, a lot of people were expecting that the iPhone 3GS would basically just be cut off from future iOS updates, such as iOS 5 and beyond. However, it looks like Apple's at least testing it at the moment, maybe to see if it's worthy of iOS 5 and if it can actually handle it and all of the new features that it'll bring. However, again, it looks like they have begun testing it on a widespread scale, which basically just means they're testing it to see what works on it and what doesn't and what devices it works for, and basically just to work out all of the final bugs for it for a early summer release. Now, the next thing's pretty interesting. Now, it's called Lima. Now, basically what it is it's a Safari-based Cydia store, and you can actually install different applications just by going to this specific website from inside of your web browser without having to install any extra applications and without having to actually deal with an application. Now, the great thing is that you can actually install Cydia packages, also known as deb packages. Now, no release dates have been put out yet. However, it is being worked on by the dev team, which is the same dev team who brought us Icy. And if you guys don't know what Icy is, I will have a video down below in the more info demoing the newer version of Icy, the one that has been brought back to life, that does work on all iOS devices, and it also works all the way up to the latest version of iOS. But aside from that, I'm really looking forward to Lima and its launch. Just be sure to stay tuned, and I will have full coverage on it once it is released to the public. Now, last week, Apple said they would be updating their iOS to version 4.3.3 in order to fix bugs. Now, basically, the main bug that they're talking about is location storing. Now, Steve Jobs basically just tried to pawn that off as a bug, and I also think that it actually was intentional. Now, I don't think they were doing it to track you. I just think that they were doing it to make better use of applications and the location services. With that being said, they're basically going to cut the location storing back to only 1 week, and you can actually have the option to turn off location storing altogether as well. And also, too, the location database will be deleted entirely when location services is now turned off, so it will not store your location even when location services is turned off, unlike before where it stores your location constantly. Other than that, battery life improvements are said to be in iOS 4.3.3, as well as iPod bug fixes. So that basically concludes today's episode of Best Tech Info and Rumors. For the question of the day, just let me know down below whether or not you are looking forward to Lima, and also if you guys will update to iOS 4.3.3 if the features that I mentioned are the only features that it has. And for a third part, what features do you think will be in iOS 5 and what features do you hope will be in iOS 5? Now, you guys can always just answer any of these questions for fun if you want. Again, if you guys want to be updated when I release a new episode of Best Tech Info and Rumors, just be sure to hit that subscribe button if you liked this video, rate it up, and until next time, this is ICU signing out.